Good evening. How is everyone? Um, so since I didn't get to do it yesterday, I'm going to do a Flashback Friday edition. And today we're going to go over Matilda, which makes 30 years this past, I think it came out early August, I think. 1996. Um, I'm I'm very much older of an age to had watched this. Um, I was a teenager when this movie came out, and even with that being said, I still very much enjoyed this movie. This is such like a whimsical type film. Um, it has its quirkiness about it. It's comedy, fantasy, and has such a great cast. And even though she didn't do anything as an adult, because I think she quit acting. Um, what is her name? I already forgot her name already. Mara Wilson, who plays Matilda, she was so great in such roles, like from Mrs. Doubtfire being like the little cute little kid sister, Matilda. Um, those are really like the only sad to say, the only two roles I think. Oh, and then Miracle on 34th Street, which of course that was a remake. But anyway, so I'm revisiting this film, and I just finished watching it. And if you're not familiar with this film, I don't know where you've been. I really don't. So this is a girl who's been gifted with a kind of with telekinesis powers. She's very intelligent. She started reading at a very young age. Um, as soon as they had Matilda, it's like they almost forgot they had a kid. Um, and the father, the mother, and even the older brother are such like wild, wild creatures. Danny DeVito plays the father, Mr. Wormwood. Rhea Perlman, who I don't know if they're still together. I know they were married. Um, plays and is or maybe was married in real life to Danny DeVito. Mrs. Wormwood. Um, again, Mara Wilson plays Matilda. Um, Embreth DeViets plays Mrs. Honey or Miss Honey. Pam Ferris. I don't know. I'm not familiar with her other than her playing Trunchbull. Paul Rubens. He's a very iconic person, or was. He's no longer with us. He was the FBI, if I can talk, FBI agent, and so was Tracy Walter. Um, and then you have other people who were like kids that were in the movie. They're not really, um, hate to say it, they're not really that important. But also, Danny DeVito was the director and the narrator of this film, and yeah, I think it still holds up. Only thing I think the only negative thing I have to say about this, the CGI does not hold up in today's current um, times. But other than that, I think it's still a great film, especially if you have kids. I think kids would still love this today. Um, But yeah, anyway, so it starts out the Wormwoods have a baby. They already had a child or have a child. This was their first daughter. Almost immediately after they leave the hospital, they kind of almost left her on top of the car. Then they remembered. Then they put her in the back of the car. No seatbelts, no nothing. Her just sliding around in the back of a um, Volkswagen. Um, and then from then on, she realized she was kind of on her own. She basically raised herself. So ever since probably at the age of 3 or 4, she learned to cook on her own. She read everything that was in her house. Then she decided to take a trip to the library on her own. She looked that up in a phone book, started going to the library every day after everyone left to go to work and school. And then the librarian said, I see you're over here always reading. Why don't you take some books home with you? And you can keep them as long as you want. So she started doing that, taking like so many books out at a time, bringing them home, reading. And then at some point, she started realizing she had the ability to move things with her mind. And started playing tricks on her father because he was such a jerk to her. The mom was very callous. Um, I don't know. They were such kind of like a-holes to her. Like it's like they didn't want a kid, but they had a kid, you know? They didn't appreciate her, like, hunger for knowledge. They eventually put her in school, even though they didn't believe her age. She's like, I should be in school. And then put her in this horrible school with Miss Trunchbull. She was a horrible teacher, such a like not a very not a very attractive lady, I have to say. Um she probably had never been married. I want to assume that. Not saying looks are everything, but I don't think she ever tried. You know what I'm saying? Um so she was the principal and never really cared for kids. So I don't even know why she wanted to become a principal. Um, but that was her role, and basically said if you get out of line or misbehave in any type of way, you're going to go to the chokey, which was basically this little, almost like a broom closet, and had like spikes coming out of it. If I don't know if it's spikes or nails. And so that was very, I'm sure, traumatizing as a child if you watched that as a child. Um, and the sweet Mrs. Honeybee or Miss Honeybee, she was like a sweet teacher, cared for her kids, students. She had a real liking to Matilda, and she eventually had her over for some tea and cookies. Sounds like a real British thing to do. Even though she's not British, you know. Um, but yeah, and she visited her old home, realized, or she told Matilda that Mrs. Trunchbull is her aunt. She used to live in that house. Both of her parents died, but she lives in a cottage. She said she wanted to get her doll back, but she's so scared to go in there. So then the next night she Matilda practices her powers, and then, went back and got the doll, got some chocolate, started messing with Trunchbull's mind, and did the same thing the next day. And eventually, excuse me, Miss Honeybee um, adopted her, and that was kind of it. I think one of the most iconic scenes, or two iconic scenes, is um, Matilda learning her telekinesis, making it stronger. Did this whole little dance routine, making things move in the living room, did a little dance. I thought that was so cute, such an iconic scene. And then the one where Bruce, he's another kid in the school, um, eating the cake, and Trunchbull basically bullying him to eat the whole. First, it was a slice of cake, then it was a whole cake, and he didn't think he could do it. And then the whole kids was like rallying him. It's like, you can do it, you can do it, and he finally did it. And then Trunchbull got the tray and smashed it over his head, and then he's like, burp. But yeah, I can only imagine watching this as a kid and being traumatized by such a bully like her, and probably not ever want to go to school. Like, what if every superintendent is like that? No. Um, but um, she's very sadistic, and yeah, nobody likes her, which is probably the point. I don't think she's meant to be liked. But yeah, anyway, that is um my review over that. Seems like most people give it like a 7 out of 10. Let's see what some people are saying about it now. So this first one comes from 2004. A quirky and wonderful slice of magic and youth. Danny DeVito touches on the viewpoint of children and their imagination in this fantasy come to life Matilda. Who of us as children didn't see the world in the powerful images of youthful, innocent eyes? The horrific Agatha Trunchbull and the kindly librarian Miss Phelps, the annoying big brother Mikey, or the wondrous perfect teacher Miss Honey. Who of us as children didn't see that some things in life were wrong and wanted to put them right if only we had magic powers? Life as a kid is fantastic and happy and exciting and scary. And in Matilda, we see all elements of childhood shine through by the intentionally ridiculous, over the top performance of Danny DeVito, Matilda's dad, Rhea Perlman, mom, and Pam Ferris, Miss Trunchbull, the principal. And yes, there is a scary element to the movie. The chase in Miss Trunchbull's house, the the spooky scene of Matilda talking back, Lizzie doll from Miss Trunchbull while haunting her house. But this is the scariness of youth shown from a safe distance of even the young audience. And despite the scariness, which kids know exists, Matilda and Miss Honey and all their friends are vicious. Danny DeVito has demonstrated a lesson well learned from the Disney animated films of yesteryear. The more evil the villain, the more noble and vicious the heroine. To miss seeing Miss to miss seeing Matilda is to miss heartwarming hand clapping magical trip back to your childhood fantasies and ideals. On that note, I would like to say, um, I don't know about going that far on that level, but I do remember as a child being using my imagination and trying to believe such whimsical and such magic could be existed throughout our youth, even though it never happened. But I would just, I think as kids we hope to have belief in such wondrous and throughout our eyes and as a kid. This one is too long to read, so I'm going to pass it, but they did give it a 6 out of 10. Um, let's see about the next one. Come on, where's the reviews? Fuck. Okay, so this other one is an 8 out of 10. Quirky family film with some great characters. This is in 2020. Matilda is something of a guilty pleasure for me, and I'm sure I'm not the only full grown adult who finds this film hilarious. It's a kid film. It's a kid's film through and through, but I've always found it very funny and can never resist putting it on when I see it flicking through the channels. And I'm one of those adults. I do enjoy this film. The main reason I find this film so enjoyable is the eccentric characters. Matilda's parents are hilarious, but like everybody else, my favorite is the headmistress, Miss Trunchbull. She is without a doubt one of the best and most entertaining characters in any kids' family movie. Matilda is a classic kids film and a fun story and some ridiculous over the top characters. I can't help but to find this film hugely enjoyable and would recommend it to people of all ages with good sense of humor. For sure. For sure. Um, this next one is a 7 out of 10. A great family movie we are missing these days. I am 33 years old. While I am writing these words, this is from 2018, so she's not 33 anymore. Um, and I must admit, I am fully enjoyed watching this movie, despite this movie was made for kids, and despite my age. I referred it in the beginning. Everything was perfect. The simple, wonderful story, the great acting, especially from Mara, that was amazing. That's a kind of movies we are missing these days. My advice to all: go watch this. You will not regret. Okay, and last but not least, this is very short. Cool. Another 7 out of 10. Great family film. Really enjoyable. Have watched this multiple times. Feel good family film. Good performances. Okay, that's it on that. So yeah, I probably give it. I think I give it an 8. 8 out of 10. Um, Again, despite like watching it these days, the CGI is not great, especially seeing like when Miss Trunchbull is throwing the kids out of the window and them flying. You can tell the CGI and it's not very practical. Not it doesn't look convincing enough. But overall, the film it still holds up today. It's a great family film. And yes, I would recommend to any and all ages if they like such films. But with that being said, that is my review. And yeah. And if you have not watched this film, I don't know where you've been. It's been out for many, many years. Again, it's 30 years old. And just saying that out loud, I'm like, whoa. Like, whoa. Um, but yeah. How do you feel about the film? Do you enjoy it? Let me know. Comment down below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and like. Okay? Thanks, and see you next time. Mwah. Bye.